On August 7, 1942, at exactly 02:14 hours, under the pitch-black sky before dawn, the first wave of U.S. Marines began waiting ashore on the beaches of Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands, a name that would soon be burned into history. These young men carried the standard weapons of the era: M1 Garand rifles, Bars and Thompson, submachine guns, but hidden among them was a weapon that would change the face of close combat: the Winchester Model 12 shotgun. Originally a hunting tool, this pump-action weapon became one of the most devastating instruments of jungle warfare. The Japanese defenders had trained for bayonet charges and long-range rifle duels, believing their spirit and swordsmanship would triumph in close combat. What they weren't ready for was the brutal simplicity of the American shotgun, a weapon that could unleash a storm of lead as fast as a Marine could pump the action. Each 12-gauge shell carried 9 large pellets of double-aught buckshot. Firing 6 rounds in just 3 seconds, a Marine could send more than 50 projectiles screaming into the darkness, more firepower than an entire squad of enemy riflemen could return. The psychological impact was as devastating as the physical one. Even in World War I, Germany had tried to ban the shotgun, calling it inhumane under the Hague Convention. The United States had refused, warning that any execution of a captured shotgun-wielding soldier would bring swift reprisals. The weapon stayed, and by World War II, the Winchester Model 12 trench gun had evolved. Shortened barrel, heat shield bayonet lug, and the ability to slam fire, meaning a Marine could hold down the trigger and simply rack the pump for continuous fire. When the Japanese launched their famous night attacks on Guadalcanal, their doctrine collapsed. 2 weeks after the landings, Colonel Kiona Ichiki led 900 soldiers across the Tanaru River in a nighttime banzai assault, expecting to crush the Marine perimeter. Instead, they charged straight into interlocking fire from machine guns, artillery, and Marines armed with shotguns waiting in the shadows. At point-blank range, the Model 12 turned the jungle into hell. A single blast could tear through multiple attackers. By dawn, 800 Japanese soldiers were dead. The psychological terror was unforgettable, and the metallic chunk of a pump being racked in the dark became a sound that haunted the enemy. In the black jungles, the shotgun became the point man's weapon. Marines on patrol could deliver instant, overwhelming fire at the first sign of movement. In defensive lines, it was the silent guardian. A single blast could stop infiltrators crawling through the wire. As the Pacific War moved forward into New Georgia, Tarawa, Saipan, and finally Iwo Jima and Okinawa, the shotgun earned its reputation as a close-quarters equalizer. In cave warfare, the Model 12 became a tool of survival. Marines would fire into cave mouths, letting the buckshot ricochet off walls and ceilings and turning confined tunnels into death traps. The sound inside those caves was horrifying, ricocheting pellets screaming in every direction, making it seem as if death came from all around. Japanese soldiers often abandoned positions rather than face that nightmare. On Saipan, when thousands of Japanese launched one of the largest banzai charges of the war, Marines with shotguns held the line where machine guns had been overrun. At Iwo Jima, it became part of the blowtorch and corkscrew tactics: flamethrowers to flush enemies out, demolition charges to seal tunnels, and shotguns to finish the job. Marines even invented skip shooting, bouncing buckshot off cave walls to hit enemies hiding behind corners. Despite its fearsome effectiveness, only about 61,000 Model 12s were ever produced during the war, a fraction compared to millions of rifles. They were issued to those who needed them most: frontline Marines, Army assault engineers, Navy shore patrols, and Air Force guards. Ammunition was plentiful, with buckshot slugs and even smaller shot loads for clearing brush. Marines who carried the Model 12 swore by it. It gave them confidence in the pitch-black jungle, knowing that if the enemy came close, they held the ultimate weapon for survival. The Japanese tried to adapt, using crude bamboo or wooden armor, but it barely slowed the buckshot. Their only real defense was to avoid close combat entirely, which undermined their entire battle philosophy. The story of the Winchester Model 12 isn't just about a weapon, it's about adaptation. The Marines didn't cling to old traditions. They learned, improvised, and evolved. In the mud and blood of the Pacific, they discovered new ways to fight, skip shooting, mixed loads, and shotgun assault teams. Every tactic was born not from theory but from necessity. And it worked. From Guadalcanal to Okinawa, the shotgun became the Marines' brutal equalizer, a weapon of pure pragmatism and terrifying efficiency. Even after the war, its legacy continued. It saw action in Korea, Vietnam, and beyond, clearing jungles, tunnels, and bunkers. Echoing the same fear it created decades earlier, its spirit lived on in modern close support firepower, from the A-10, Warthog's cannon, to the AC-130's gunship and overwhelming force at short range. To the Japanese who faced it, the Model 12 was more than just a gun. It was the collapse of everything they believed about Western weakness. They expected timid soldiers who feared close combat. Instead, they found Americans who had mastered it. In the dark jungles of the Pacific, the simple pump shotgun became a symbol of American ingenuity, grit, and adaptability. It proved that wars aren't always won by the most advanced technology, but by those willing to adapt, innovate, and fight smart. From the beaches of Guadalcanal to the caves of Okinawa, the echo of that Chechunk sound carried one undeniable truth. The Winchester Model 12 wasn't just a weapon. It was the sound of survival, the heartbeat of a Marine who refused to give ground, and the spirit of an army that learned to win in the most unforgiving places on Earth.